Your brain is being robbed by a chemical you've never even seen. You wake up, and before your eyes adjust, your thumb is already scrolling. Not because you need anything. Not because you're curious. But because the silence feels wrong. That tiny gap between you and your own thoughts, it burns. So you fill it. Again. 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 This isn't a lack of willpower. This is a chemical hijacking, and the substance isn't on the street, it's in your pocket. We're taught that dopamine is the pleasure chemical. That's a lie. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about wanting. It's the anticipation before you pull the lever, not the prize when it hits. It's the hunger, not the meal. And modern life has learned to weaponize that hunger with surgical precision. Let's prove it. Think about the last time you binge-watched a show you didn't even enjoy anymore. You weren't happy. You were hooked. Your thumb moved to the next episode before your brain could ask, "Do I even want this?" That's dopamine. It's the engine of craving, not satisfaction. Every notification is a tiny slot machine spin. What if it's her? What if it's a sale? What if someone liked my photo? The reward is rarely worth the interruption, but your brain doesn't care. It's chasing the possibility. And tech companies aren't building tools. They're building one-armed bandits that fit in your palm. So how did we get here? 3 decades ago, dopamine was a survival mechanism. It rewarded you for exploring, for finding water, for noticing movement in the tall grass. The problem isn't dopamine. The problem is that we've hacked the reward system with stimuli that requires zero effort and deliver infinite variability. You ever notice how checking email feels productive, but an hour later you've achieved nothing? You weren't working. You were grazing. Low stakes, low effort, low reward loops that keep you busy without moving you forward. Dopamine doesn't care about progress. It cares about more. The trap is that these loops feel like agency. You think you're choosing. But watch someone pick up their phone, unlock it, swipe, lock it, and repeat 30 seconds later. That's not choice. That's a tick. A conditioned response to the absence of stimulation. And here's the real cost. When your baseline is flooded with cheap hits, real life starts to feel dull. A conversation without interruptions. A walk without headphones. Silence. These used to be neutral. Now they feel unbearable. You're not lazy. Your threshold has just been permanently raised by a system designed to keep it there. But you can reset it. The opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's satisfaction. The first step is the hardest because it requires you to feel the boredom you've been avoiding. But boredom isn't emptiness. Boredom is the space where desire is born. If you never let yourself want, you never let yourself truly have. You just consume. Try this. 1 hour a day, no device. No phone, no tablet, no laptop. No music, no podcast, no screen. Just you and the texture of the present. The first 3 days will feel like withdrawal. That's not a metaphor, it is withdrawal. But by day 7, something shifts. Time slows. Your attention becomes something you direct, not something that's stolen. Next, delay your first hit. The average person touches their phone within 10 seconds of waking. That first scroll sets the threshold for the entire day. You're spiking your dopamine before your feet hit the floor. Instead, wait 30 minutes. Look out the window. Drink water. Be still. Let your brain wake up naturally instead of shocking it awake with variable rewards. Then, schedule your indulgent loops. Yes, allow them. The goal isn't purity, it's sovereignty. Tell yourself, I will check social media at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. for 15 minutes. Not reactively, but deliberately. When you know a reward is coming, the anticipation stops hijacking your periphery. You stop checking mindlessly because you know exactly when you'll receive. You don't quit the game, you just stop letting it play you. There's a deeper layer, too. The reason these loops are so sticky isn't just biology. It's that they offer a substitute for meaning. Scrolling feels like discovery. Notifications feel like connection. Upvotes feel like approval. But they're ghosts. Echoes. They have no weight. Real meaning requires friction. Learning an instrument is frustrating before it's beautiful. Building a relationship requires awkward silences. Creating anything of value involves hours of staring at a blank page. These experiences don't deliver dopamine spikes, they deliver dopamine plateaus. Steady, earned, enduring. And here's the paradox. When you starve the cheap hits, the valuable ones become potent again. A simple meal tastes richer. A conversation holds your attention. Sunlight on your skin registers as sensation, not just scenery. You regain the capacity for awe, which is just the brain's reward for noticing something bigger than itself. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about reclaiming the steering wheel. Start small. Pick one loop today. Not all of them, just one. Maybe it's checking news during work hours. Maybe it's the phone by the bed. Replace the cue with friction. Delete the app, not with the intention to quit forever, but just to see how it feels. You can always reinstall it. But give yourself the gift of a conscious choice, not a compulsive tap. What you'll discover is that the craving passes. It always does. And on the other side of that craving is something you haven't felt in years: agency. The architects of these systems are betting you'll never notice the cage. They're betting you'll blame yourself for lacking discipline. But it was never a fair fight. You weren't addicted to your phone because you're weak. You were addicted because 1,000 engineers were paid to exploit a biological vulnerability you didn't even know you had. Now you know. The question isn't whether you'll ever touch your phone again. The question is, who decides when? If this video made you pause, even for a second, that pause is the crack in the machine. Use it. Subscribe to 1% at a time, and if this resonated, hit like, not because I need the validation, but because it's how the algorithm finds people like you. People who are done being passengers. 1%. Every day. That's all it takes.